your note bending, I didn't see anybody who, when you applied the vibrato, put their wrist up like this. Even guys who have had the blues rock class. So when you do a vibrato on just a regular fretted note, this is not your classical vibrato. A classical vibrato is like this. You go from headstock to bridge. And it's going to be easier to achieve if it's a larger diameter string. And if it's a wound string, it's going to be easy to do. You get on the very tip of the finger, you take the thumb off the neck, and then you go from headstock to bridge. See, my thumb comes off the neck. Electric vibrato. I'll tell you something though that it's a secret. Check. No KGB, no CIA. It's harder to get a classical vibrato. It's the hardest on the first string. So what you do, this is a trick. That you use your first finger 4 frets below, and it's easier. It's much bigger. I don't know if you'll notice it that much on these strings that are so light. That, you know, most people would be embarrassed for me because I'm using eights. You know, because the larger the diameter, the better the tone. But it's harder to play. I don't like things that are hard to play. But some people love that tone. But if you put your first finger down, like on a classical, you can hear it though. It's bigger. Can you hear it? Here's the difference. Try it on your classical guitar. Well, so the first thing you do is a pluck and slide to bend a note. Listen for a second. I'm on the third string. Oh, and by the way, that as far as my frets, I didn't need a fret job. My frets were flat and they're going to be milled. So instead of being flat, it's going to get them so that they're more like this. It's like $140 here. Now, when I apply the vibrato, here on the non-bent notes, this electric vibrato, look at it. I put the side of the index finger knuckle on the neck, and I use its wrist generated. As much as the wrist moves, that's as much as the finger moves. I think you'll see anybody who really is a very good bender use places like this. There's also a pretty big kind of a hook here in the finger. And so as much as my wrist is moving, that's as much as the tip of the finger is moving. People will make the mistake of putting the finger out here, then there's nothing to get the leverage off of. You're getting the leverage from the neck of the guitar. So if I do it with my third finger, I'm supporting with the second finger. If I did it with the second finger, I would support. Those nails are just a little bit longer. Okay, so notice, but the vibrato on a bent note is finger generated. So what you do when you bend the note is after the note is bent up, you get your wrist like your Spider-Man. You're going to shoot a web out of there. Look how it looks. My thumb is down on the wrist. And then when I bend, watch the wrist. This goes up, the wrist goes up, kind of like this. And that puts you in a better position to generate the vibrato with the fingers. You look more like you were just shaking your guitar or something. You weren't using that technique. Yeah, you're kind of just shaking it, like a quivering, like some poor forest creature that got like hit by a car and it's quivering in its last moments. You have a quivering vibrato. Turn it up and let me hear it. That looks good, but I didn't see the vibrato applied. That's good. Okay, so the two things that are involved, you're using the right technique, you're using the right muscles now. The things that are involved in vibrato, in electric vibrato, are speed and distance. The distance is very small. The distance is a microtone. The distance is less than a half step. Listen to how small this distance is. And then you get an even pulse. Your pulse is kind of a little fast. You want it to be more like wee, 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 wee. Listen. Lyrical. It's really small, the distance, and the pulse needs to be regular. You have to imagine it like this is imagine that this is the whole step. And you go up and you don't want to exceed the whole step, and then you come down this little tiny distance. It's just like knocking on the wall. You just have to not exceed. Yours is just a little fast. Yours kind of, I don't even want to do it with my wrist. Yours kind of sounds like this. Doesn't sound really quite like that, but it's a little faster. It should be more like that. Slower. Like wee. You don't have to get to the bend slower. Get to the bend. That's better. It's better. It's a little reserved, but it's good. It's much more appropriate than the other one. You can have an eccentric vibrato in blues. And metal, they'll have eccentric ones that are a little bit bigger and a little bit faster. But one more time, notice the wrist when you bend the note. Thumbs over the neck. Yeah. Wrist goes up. Finger generated vibrato as opposed to wrist generated vibrato. Here's the quarter bend. The quarter bend is it's a lot like a Christmas present. You can't take it back. No matter if you get in a fight or whatever. No. Look, you bend to the quarter step, and don't let it come down. Listen to how small it is. And you release the pressure and touch the string with the pick so that it won't ring. If you go up and you go to take it, once it goes up, you can't let it come down. It loses the whole effect. What it's doing is it's delaying the resolution. It's going, please resolve, please resolve, please resolve, like this.
Did you start from the quarter bend and go down?
I started from the true pitch and made as big. The key to applying the quarter bend is that you don't start right away. It's a very small distance. You want to be as dramatic as you can be. And then you don't start right away, and then you go right, you get there a little more quickly. You increase it very small, like listen to it on the third string. Here's home bass. Listen for a second. So I think you asked me, like, when would you use one, or why? They're used all the time. You're like a blues. It's kind of like, you're bending, you're moaning, sighing, groaning. Just do this. On B. B. Where's B, dude?
That's the
Okay, play B then. Let me hear your six string open. You used to tune it, right? Mm-hmm. Play that note again. Play the B. I'm gonna play it like this. Don't use your muscles to release that pressure. Just let your finger play dead. If you use your muscles to try and release that tension, you'll probably break contact with the string. Just play dead. Just dead.